Hey guys, Paul with Open Rehab coming at you here today, doing something a little bit different. Again, no bike, no helmet, of course, because we're over at the garage at the coach, I guess we can call it that. The orange, black, and gray themed out, decked out garage. My buddy B. Kerwin over here, aka Coach, and what we're doing today is something a little bit different. Like I said in my previous video, when we started this channel, we wanted to offer, I guess, upgrades kind of on a budget, I guess if you want to call it that. And this is going to be another one that we're going to do. Actually, if you follow us, Coach had a hell of a spill back it was about a month ago. We were up on the 78 and outside of Ramona, California, hitting the twisties, and Coach went down, and his road glide took a little bit of damage, so we kind of just had it towed home, and then right now it's back in the stable, or in his stable. And what we're gonna do now, we've been modifying, he's been modifying it and kind of adding onto it and building it, doing extended bags and stretching it out a little bit. Here's the bike here though, you can see it. We have some new paint on the front fairing there, front fenders around here somewhere, over there in the corner I do believe. Stretched out bags, color matched, twisted cherry. And what we're going to do today is swap out this. If you've heard me talk about Harley suspension, I don't know why we're still running this technology. It's 2019 Road Glide, but the ride isn't very plush. So what Coach is going to do, we're going to upgrade. I'm going to call it an upgrade. It's going to be some air ride. Bikes we've had before, all my bikes that I've had have been on air ride, and the same for Coach, and this is going to be no exception. So what we're going to do is dive into this. If you turn wrenches, well, you probably understand how to turn a wrench. So I'm not going to dive real deep into this thing and tell you and show you and take shocks off and the bags off. You should be at this point, you should know how to take your bags off. You should know how to access the tools to get this stuff off. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop the shocks off this thing, mount the new ones up, and just start tearing away on it. Alright guys, so got the shocks off, got the new shocks on. What we're going to work on now is mounting the compressor. And as you can see, we have a plate here that was provided by the company who builds this kit. The company is called Empire Cycles. They're out of California. And you have some rubber I guess mounting, I don't know what you call it, grommets. Insulators maybe, yeah, thanks Brian. They go underneath the compressor here to keep it from rattling, making noise. Some of the air kits I ran in the past on my bikes didn't have that. That's kind of a good idea, good thinking on their part. So what we're gonna have to do, here's another one there in case you want to see, that one's rubber. So what we're gonna have to do here, Brian went ahead, or Coach went ahead and got some longer bolts for this exhaust, depending on your exhaust setup. His actually, the tabs here are threaded, so all you have to do is run the bolt through and tighten it up. So we went ahead and mounted the compressor onto the plate, the mounting bracket, and now we're just gonna get everything torqued down here and keep moving forward. All right guys, so we got the plate mounted up, compressor mounted up. We went ahead and installed our compression fittings here for our airline. We got the dump valve set up as well with the compression fitting as well. You only need to do one side following the diagram that they gave us, or that's online. This is exactly how you want to set it up. So what's going to happen is when you activate the dump valve, it's going to blow the air out of the system from this side. So we went ahead and made sure we didn't have any clearance issues here, made sure the compressor wasn't rubbing up against the bike anywhere, and made sure that the wheel is free spinning and we don't have any clearance issues with the compressor and the disc brake. And what we're going to do now is just get everything wired up. We're gonna do something a little bit different. They have the ends already on here, but we're gonna cut these off, make them a little longer. We're gonna run them in underneath here to the battery. We went ahead and took the side cover off, and we're gonna hide the dump valve back here. Again, this is something that's not factory with Harley, so you're gonna have to figure out a place to put it here, zip tie it here, just out of the way. The cover's gonna cover it, you're never gonna see it. But what we're gonna do now is make these wires a little bit longer, kind of get like a harness going here. We do recommend that you do get your inline fuses in place and in line as well, so that way in case you do have any issues with the power wire grounding out, you pop the fuse and not have a battery frying issue. So we're gonna get on that next. Alright guys, so we have the air lines hooked up here on the compressor. It's coming back. We went ahead and zip tied it here, here, secured it there, ran it behind the frame. Your cover's going to go on here, so you don't want to run it over the frame. You don't want nothing to be pinching off of this metal. So you're going to go under the frame here, behind the cover, and up through here, the battery area. We went ahead and ran the air line for the shock itself, and I'll show you how we did that. So we have the lines that we did here. One's coming from the shock on this side, as you can see there, and it runs to this T-fitting here, and then you have the other shock coming in. It's going to tie into here. You have one that's going to run to the compressor and one that's going to run to the dump valve. So right now what we're going to do is wire up the battery side of the compressor, but we had to pop the ECM off, and what we're going to do is take this plate that's on top of the battery off by loosening these two bolts, and this plate should just be able to come right off. Alright guys, now that we have everything loose here and we've taken off our wires that clip into this plate, we're going to go ahead and just take this cover off, and then this will expose the positive and the negative side. At what point you're going to go ahead and put your inline fuse in here and run to the power side on the compressor, and you're going to go ahead and run your ground just right to the battery. Alright guys, so we have all the wires ran along here behind the shock, behind the frame. It's going to go behind the side cover and up in between here. We got our plate for our battery off, and what Coach is doing now is going to hook up the power side that's actually going to run to the switch. So you have the breakdown correctly. The power runs to the switch.
Center post of the switch.
Okay.
Then on one leg of the switch will go to the compressor. The other leg of the switch will go down to the dump valve.
Okay, and that's how it's going to work. That's how it's going to hook in. What we're going to do now is talk about where we're going to put our switch. You have a lot of options to do that. You can run it off the dash. We've seen some switches that are ran off the handlebars. We didn't want to get too far in depth into taking bars off and all that stuff, and we don't really want to run the wire, get the tank off and run the wire underneath the dash. So what we're going to do is what I did on my Road Glide. We're going to actually put the switch here off of the side of this dash piece. A little easier, to me, it's a little easier accessible for when you're backing in, when you can do it with your left hand, you can do it with your right hand. You don't have to, you know, hold one hand with the clutch, and you know, it's just a lot easier. You can do it with left or right hand. You can do it when you're moving. You can do it when you're sitting still. Because it's just literally just right here off the dash piece. So we are going to have to drill a hole in here, which is fine. Coach is good with that. So we're going to get to taking the dash piece off. All right, guys, so now that we got the bolt off here, we got the Allen off here, you got to take the gas cap off, and this piece should pop right up. Just like that. Now underneath you're going to have wires that are clipped here underneath, so you can work with it off of just on the tank right here. You don't really need to take it off and put it on a bench. So, but you want to make sure you get the right spot and where you're going to put the switch. All right, guys, so we got the hole drilled and we got our switch wired up here according to the wiring diagram. Just follow that diagram. This switch is powered. It's a full-on power switch, no ground, so you're going to be running power to it, and then off of that you're going to be running to your dump valve on the power side and your compressor on the power side. So got that all mounted up there, and the wires ran up to it and shrink wrapped in place. So we're going to go ahead and set the dash back on, get it bolted down, and get these wires ran nice and tight under there and all together. Alright guys, so we went ahead and bolted our dash back on, got our switch mounted up nice and tight, gas caps put back on. We went ahead and routed the wires down under here, zip tied them off here, nice and clean, keep them together. What we're going to work on next is wiring up our dump valve, our ground side, and our ground for the compressor. We're going to just tie together, and we're going to just attach them here to the ground off the battery. Again, putting our dump valve in here, we're going to have to zip tie it somewhere. We'll figure that out and show you when we get it on. Alright guys, so wires are ran. The dump valve is actually, we went ahead and zip tied it up here on this harness. Used 2 zip ties. Went ahead and ran the ground wire over to the battery here. And we ran the compressor wire, the ground together, and we're just going to tie those in to the battery. The last little piece is running the air line from the left side shock, routing it up, and right now that's pretty much the last piece that's going to go in here. I'm going to have Coach show you. It's really simple. You really just press it in, and that's pretty much it. Pull on it a little bit to make sure it doesn't come out. And as far as the air goes in this system right now, it's completely blocked off. So we should be able to put our fuse in our power side here, and we should be able to check it to see if it's gonna work and hold air and all that good stuff. So before we put all this stuff back together, that's what you want to do next, is make sure you're getting power to where you need it, and also that you're gonna be able to hold air. So let's get that done first, and then we'll see how it works. right, looks like it's working on the upside. It's dumping air too. Sweet, man. So looks like we have a success. What we'll do now is we'll get the jack out from underneath her, and then we'll put some air in it as we work on putting everything else back together over our electrical here, kind of cleaning up this area, getting it all tucked in there nice and smooth and nice and sleek, so that when the seat goes on, it's not rubbing any. All right, guys, so we're just finishing up. Got it all cleaned up here. As you can see, wires are ran. Coach is joking about putting 50 pounds of zip ties on, but that's kind of what we do. So make sure everything's on here secure. We got our compressor. We're double checking everything, make sure that our bolts are all tight here, and that we have no clearance issues back here, and no clearance issues with the motor. So we're holding air, and came out pretty good, came out pretty clean. It's not too crazy, not too hectic, and it's a little upgrade that old Coach has been wanting to do for a minute. So we're gonna throw the bags on it and show off how the air system works and what it looks like. So give us a few minutes here. We're gonna throw it back together. Alright guys, so there you have it. B. Kerwin, Coach, Paul here, Open Road Rehab. Bike's all together. Looks good from back here. Of course, there's some work to be done on the front end still. But for the most part, little update. Brian's pretty much fully recovered. Got some scars, and you know, his bike is pretty much recovered as well. Got some parts back from the paint and body work done. And we're good to go. So all stretched out, air ride, and we're just gonna wait for another week or so on some other parts that are coming in, and hopefully by then we'll be back out on the road, and we'll hope to see you out there. Yeah. So anyhow, guys, gonna shove off here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Make sure you share, subscribe, like, all that good stuff if you will. And until next time, take care. Ride safe out there, and God bless.